game. I enjoyed it. But tonight we are going to be starting our new series that I'm calling Get Over Yourself. So, the title of our series, Get Over Yourself, and tonight we have our series of does this look like? It's like money. So we're going to be talking a little bit about greed. Something about money, right? Something about money that kind of makes some people get a little crazy. So, I want to ask you a question, and we hear it all the time. We hear about the opposite here. Can money bring you happiness?
No, not really.
Who says no?
Sometimes. I mean, not true happiness.
This is.
I think maybe.
There's the maybes, okay? Who's in the maybe camp then? I'll give you middle ground because you're a bunch of juniors. Alright, who says negative? Who says absolutely not?
Oh, he didn't.
Okay. I would say, if you want to get my opinion, I would say that money can bring you happiness. But, let me ask you a different question. Can money bring you joy?
No.
Okay? Again, we're going to be discussing this tonight. So, who says no? Who says no, money cannot bring you joy? Who says yes, money can bring you joy? Okay, now what's the difference between happiness and joy? Can anyone tell me, my son?
Joy is like long lasting and happy is just like short time.
Okay, and joy is more lasting and happy is short term, yeah? I would agree. Anybody else on what joy and happiness, the difference? Miss J. Lee.
You have happiness a lot, but when you have joy, it's just really
Ooh, okay, so happiness is kind of like happens all the time, but joy has to be like this big thing, right? Julian, was that a hand? Sorry, was that a hand, Mr. Julian? Okay. All right, anybody else on opinions of joy and happiness before we move on? I would say, and I would argue, that money can bring you happiness. But let's look at this joy thing. Because there are some people who believe there can be, and there are some people who believe you cannot have joy. So let's look into it. So tonight I'm going to be looking at 3 verses, and that's it. We're going to be in Mark. And I want to set the scene real quick, in like 30 seconds. We have Jesus going around everywhere, and we have this dude who comes up to him in a hurry, right? He's running up to him, and he falls on his knees, and he goes, "How can I get to heaven? Jesus, tell me how I can get to heaven." And Jesus was like, "Well, have you followed all the commandments? And, have you not lied? Have you not stolen? Have you not murdered? Have you not done all these things?" And he goes, "I have done none of those things, even since when I was like a little kid. I've done none of those. So am I good enough for heaven? Am I going to make it?" And Jesus has this like big moment, and that's kind of what we're walking into at Mark 12, 21 through 23. We have Jesus confront this dude who's been good, but he's got one issue. He's a very rich man. Very, very rich man. So let's look at what Jesus says to this guy. Okay? It says, Jesus looked at him and loved him. "There's one thing you lack." Okay? He said, "Go sell everything you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me." So it's a really rich guy. He goes, "You need to do this first, and then come follow me." At this, the man's face fell. He went away sad because he had great wealth. Jesus looked around and said to his disciples, "How hard is it for the rich to enter the kingdom of God?" That's rough, because this dude is wealthy. So I would imagine, and you can see in Jesus' attitude, he's bummed for this guy because he knows what could be for this guy's life. But he's like, all you have to do is just give everything, all your expensive wealth, all the way. Sell everything, and then come follow me. And he knows that this dude will not do that. And so Jesus is bummed. Why would Jesus make this impossible thing for this rich guy to do? Just to follow after him? Why couldn't he just keep his money and leave it all kind of behind while he goes and follows Jesus? Why did he have to go and sell a bunch of stuff? I mean, it seems kind of mean, right? He's like, "Oh, you got to get rid of everything." That's kind of rough. And again, in verse 23, he says, "How hard is it for the rich to enter the kingdom of God?" And that's really hard because I don't know about you, but success usually means money, right? how much money are you going to get? What kind of degree are you going to get? Are you going to make a bunch of money? Are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be a sugar daddy? Or is there a term, a sugar mama? Yeah, that sounds weird. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But if you want to be a sugar mama, right, that is successful. I don't even want to hear what's coming out of your mouth. Okay. A sugar mama, that means a woman who makes a lot of money and has a young stud come along and she'll be like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I got all the money forever, right? So I'm just saying sugar mamas are a thing, but, whatever. So, okay, before we get distracted by sugar mamas and sugar daddies, all right? You don't want to be either of them. Spoiler alert, all right? That's where we're going, all right? Before Courtney distracts you, that's not what you want. So, he was asking this guy, what is your source of joy, right? He's asking, are you willing to give up something that you want for me, for heaven, for eternity, right? And the guy walks away. And that's rough. Because what is he saying? He's basically saying no. He's unwilling to give away his riches to follow after Jesus. And so he walks away going, I guess it's not for me. And he's bummed. And it bums Jesus out. Because he knows he cannot have both. We talked about it on Sunday, maybe it was last week or a few weeks ago. There's this math problem that I really love because I'm a math nerd. It's this equation of God plus you equals happiness. But a lot of other people, especially this dude, he has another thing. God plus blank, in this case money, plus you equals happiness. And whatever you decide, if God is not enough and you need something else, in this case money, for this dude, that is called an idol. And what is the number one commandment? Do you guys know? What is the first commandment? No, that's like number 6. Liam has it right. There cannot be other gods except me, right? And so an idol is something that we put all our trust and God, so it's God plus blank equals happiness, and that is an idol. And that's the number one commandment. There cannot be other gods except the true God, aka me. That's the one commandment that Jesus was trying to point out, saying you have something that you covet more than you want to be with me. You worship money rather than worshiping me, and so you have to go and get rid of that. And he knows he can't, which is a bummer. There's a study, and I love this kind of stuff. I love science, right? Because you guys know I'm a big nerd. There's a study that these atheist scientists go around, and they have these envelopes, right? And they gather 2 groups of people. In these envelopes are money, or is money, or whatever the English is. There is money, and they have one separate group have the money, and inside is a mission saying, spend this money on yourself. And then the other group has another set of the same amount of money, but in the envelope is the mission to spend the money on someone else. So same amount of money, different mission. And so they go out and say, all right, go do it, and we're going to call you at the end of the day. And what was crazy is when they called these people at the end of the day, almost 99% of these people said of the group A, being that they had to spend money on themselves, they were not more joyful at the end of the day. So they were, maybe if they started at a 5, they ended at a 5. They would always admit, yeah, I felt really good for like a second when I bought my, whatever it was. I'm sure it was like $10. So it wasn't something like, I bought a new car, it was awesome. I'm sure it was like coffee or a snack or something. And so they felt good in the moment, but it didn't last. By the end of the day, it was kind of like whatever. But what's crazy is, for the group that had to spend money on other people, they actually saw that everyone in that group was more joyful at the end of the day. So if they started at a 5, they would end, all of them, higher than what they started. Because when they had their money, they gave it away to someone else, to buy someone, maybe a homeless person, a hamburger, or someone in the line behind them, they bought their groceries, or whatever it may be. If you spend money on someone else, statistically and scientifically, they can prove that you are more joyful. So my question to you is, can money make you, or can money give you joy? I'd argue that, yeah. Money can give you joy if you use it properly. If you spend it on yourself, you're right, you will not gain joy from having money. But if you are willing to give it away and take away the power that money has, because I don't know about you, but when I get money, I'm just like, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to save it, I'm going to buy something cool. and that's my natural instinct, because I grew up super poor, so money is important. But for everyone else, I don't know how it is for you guys, but money seems to be an issue for everyone, right? For the majority of people. Because when you talk about people who are giving in churches, it's usually pretty low. But if you just learn that if we are able to give away this money, we can have real joy. And what's kind of funny, and I really like this, is usually Jesus has said something in the past in the Bible. And it's kind of funny because we find scientists kind of figuring it out 2,000 years later. Right? So these scientists did this about a few years ago. And so they're just finding out going, okay, if you give money away, you're actually happier. But Jesus said it 2,000 years ago. It's not new information. So it's interesting that they're like, this is amazing. But if they just opened their Bible, they would have already known that. Right? Jesus already said it. And it's kind of interesting because a dude 2,000 years ago knows more about our lives and our hearts and our joy than, in 2,000 years ago. I mean, he wasn't a scientist. He was God. So he kind of knew everything, didn't he? I think that's interesting. They're shocked in Bible, and Jesus was like, duh. I laid it out in front of you. It's right in front of your fingertips, and you haven't seen it. See, it's all over the Bible. It talks about giving to your community. It talks about in Acts how it's like, okay, this group of people get together and sell all your belongings, pull all the money together, and make sure that you're taking care of everyone in the community. And there's real joy in that community. And it said that it spread like wildfire. These people were actually obtaining joy and having everlasting joy together as a community because they were no longer slaves to money. It's all over the Bible, and it's kind of crazy because it's something that we've forgotten. And what's interesting is and we're not going to see it, but it's a few verses in front of this one that we just studied, is Jesus says himself, saying, if you give either your time, your money, your resources, if you give, you're going to receive 100 times more than what you gave. And if Jesus said it, we can trust that that's a promise. That's incredible. So if you are willing to give up something, either your time, your money, your efforts, your skills, you're going to be repaid in heaven 100 times what you gave. That's incredible. What an offer. And what a promise, right? But do we do it? Do we genuinely give our time and our money and our skills and our things to people who we don't necessarily like? Because, it's whatever, right? They don't really deserve it. Some person asks you for $1 and you're like, oh, sorry, this is my dollar. I'm going to do something cool with it. But statistics show, science shows, and Jesus says that if you are able to get rid of that money, if you're willing to give it to someone, your joy will be more than theirs, which is really, really awesome. So I want to challenge you, and as I wrap this up, I want to challenge you next week, Wednesday, as we're doing our spring break kind of stuff. Wednesday is going to be our big day. We're going to do like kickball and dodgeball and a bunch of other games. But what I want to challenge you guys to do, and I want you to take this serious. From 2 to 3, I want you to think about this whole week and weekend. I want you to think about if you're willing to buy candy for someone other than yourself. So Marina, the other campus in Marina, is going to do this egg hunt for these little kids. And so what they've asked people to do, and what I'd love for us to do, they ask people to buy candy and fill these eggs up full of candy so these little kids can have a joyful Easter and have an egg hunt. It sounds silly, it sounds really dumb, but man, oh man, these kids are going to be blessed by just having people who don't know them give something of themselves, and so they can have a good Easter. And I want you guys to be involved in that, because I want to challenge you to see if God is lying. See, that's the best part about the Bible, is if God makes a promise, you can find out if it's true. So I want to challenge you this week, think about it. If you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not going to be mad, I'm not going to be sad, I'm not going to be disappointed. But I'm going to be more joyful for the people who actually are going to bring some money or some candy. So again, you're going to have to do the legwork. Go out, get candy, ask your parents. Don't use your parents' money either, cheaters. All right? This is your own money. If you got $1, use that $1. Okay? Because we're going to be making eggs, as many as we can fill together. Because I want to bless some people. Because I want you to be blessed by your giving. Because that's how it goes. It's not all about taking, it's about giving. And you will have joy. And I want to give you that opportunity. So think about it. So as we go into our groups, I want you to just be thinking, okay, do I want to do this or do I not? And it's okay if you don't. But if you do, there's benefits. And it's going to be 100 times more than what you get. So you can head on off into your groups and enjoy the conversation. Yeah.